Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again, and today I'm going to talk about pond clarity and what I do to try to get my pond to be clear as possible. And let's get it started. All right guys, so here we're talking about pond clarity, and I want you to notice on this side you can see the rocks underneath the water. It's pretty clear. See that? You see the little baby koi right there? And what he's doing is he's feeding on some of the algae on the side of the rock. So I think that's good for the babies, right? So you can kind of see, if I go over here, you can see the rocks below the water, pretty clear. And let's take you down to this edge of the pond. It's pretty clear down here. Okay, you can see the rocks again in the water. All right. Don't mind the net. That's just something I do all year round. All right, guys, so you can see how clear the water is. And one of the reasons why the water is so clear is because of the time of season. We're heading into the winter. And what happens is the algae are not growing as much because, you know, the hot sun's not on your pond as much, and you might have some cloudy days and things like that. So that's why you're having more clear water. Now, think about that. If you have the summertime and it's really hot, you should find some kind of coverage on your pond. So I've been using the water hyacinths all year long. They've been doing great this year, and that's something that I've been using. Now, the one thing I don't like about water hyacinths is that water hyacinths, they get overgrown. They take control of your pond, and I'm always having to pull them out and stuff like that. So check out what I have going on now with these water hyacinths and see what you think about this one. Okay, so you can see the water hyacinths here. And you see how they've really taken over this pond. I mean, you know, you can see my little ring out there I made a video on. And they've just really controlled the pond. I mean, it's like you've got to pull some of this stuff out or they end up choking everything out. So, but the one good thing about these water hyacinths is this. They provide a maximum amount of coverage for the pond. And so there's plenty of places for the fish to swim, especially if some of the koi want to breed. It leaves a lot of safe places for the fish as well. But we're talking about water clarity, right? Some people like to add additives to their pond. I don't like doing that. So I keep the pond as natural as possible. I don't add a bunch of chemicals to the pond and all that kind of stuff. The only thing that I add during the spring months is I'm going to add some algae fix. I talked about on the last video that right now I'm treating the pond with some algae fix right now, and I'm going to treat that about every 3 days, and that'll help with some water clarity as well. So but I try to keep the pond as natural as possible. I mean, right now I've been noticing a lot of the babies coming up, they're about 1 inch long, and so usually when the small fries start hatching out, you won't even see them. You know, you'll be like, where are they all at? And all of a sudden I started feeding the fish and they just started popping up. So they feed on the algae on the side of the rocks and all that kind of good stuff. So, you know, when it comes to pond clarity, guys, I just, you know, for me, I know it's seasonal, right? So during the springtime, we're going to get a little more, you know, muckiness. If you're in an area zone where it rains a lot, of course, you're going to get some bad water clarity. So, but you know, it all depends on the season, right? So I would say if you're controlling your algae and you're you get a nice water flow as well, you're going to have nice and clear water. But right now in the winter time is the perfect time to actually be having some clear water right now. So also, you don't want to overfeed your koi and stuff like that either, right? So overfeeding them can cause a lot of excess waste in the water. The fish are using the bathroom in the water a lot more, and next thing you know, it's not good. So that can also create some illnesses and stuff like that. So one thing I do is I try not to overfeed the koi. I come out here, you know, every couple of days and I feed them. I don't feed them every single day. Some people might. I come out and give them a nice, healthy bunch of food. I have about, I usually do about a cup of this food, and I'll do that like, I think this is actually 2 cups of food. And I'll feed them 2 cups of food every 2 or 3 days. And that seems to be enough for them, and it keeps them healthy. I have noticed that by not overfeeding my fish, I've actually had a lot of luck with, knock on wood here, a lot of luck with fish not being sick. I've seen a lot of people post a lot of pictures and stuff like that on some of the Facebook groups for koi, that their fish are getting these like fin rot, you know, and they're getting sick, and they're like, what causes this? And I think that a lot of the diseases come in with overfeeding, and that's just what I think. I mean, I'm not an expert on koi, but I just know that by me not feeding my fish too much, it causes them to be a lot more healthier. And that's just usually what I found out. I've had ponds for over, I mean, gosh, since 2000, I would say 2007, maybe 2005, in that area. I built my first pond. Actually, this pond here is a redo. Actually, this was a more shallower pond, and I noticed I was getting a lot of birds and stuff like that in the pond, so I decided to make the pond a lot deeper. So that way I can house the koi a little better and stuff like that. I got this little gnat flying around me. Time of the season, right? So anyways, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that, is not overfeeding your fish. And as I'm looking at the pond right now, I see some koi feeding on the roots of the water hyacinths, which, you know, gives them some vitamin D as well, some nutrients. So they really like it as well. I try to make the pond as natural as possible. That's really my goal here. Is I'm not an expert at ponds, but one thing I am is I'm an expert at enjoying ponds, and that's something that brings me some serenity, some relaxation, and stuff like that. So, guys, listen, when you have a pond, just enjoy it. Don't worry too much about what's happening. Of course, you're going to have some maintenance that you got to deal with and stuff like that. So, okay, so number one, to help with water clarity, is we're not going to overfeed our fish, right? And we're also, number two, we're gonna treat our pond with some algae fix or anything to control algae with, and basically let the season dictate what happens with your pond, right? So right now we're going into the winter time, and you'll see a lot more pond clarity during the winter time. So during the spring months, you're gonna see a little more murkier water. The algae become more concentrated. They start floating more in the water. And now would be the time to basically treat your pond, okay, with some algae fix or some different types of algicides or things like that that's safe for the fish, of course, right? So these are just some of the things that I do throughout the winter and spring months, and I think having a pond is a very enjoyable thing to have. And right now I'm looking at the fish; they're just so happy right now. One more thing I want to talk about as well is water degree temperature. Okay, so water degree temperature can affect the clarity of the water as well. If it's really hot water, warm waters, you're going to see a lot more algae blooms and things like that, and that can affect the water clarity as well. So that's why it's important to treat your pond in the springtime with some of the algicides and algae fix and things like that. Also, by adding some plants in your pond is a really good thing as well, because adding plants in your pond can actually, like the water lilies, the water hyacinths, different types of water plants in the pond. You would put them in pots and stuff like that, but what's happening is that the plants are competing for oxygen with the algae. So if you can get a lot of plants put strategically in your pond, they're gonna basically take the oxygen in the water, and they're gonna flourish, and it's gonna choke out the algae. So that helps out as well. But back to the water degree temperature, is I think it's like 45 degrees. Anything that's below that, fish, they have a tendency to stop eating. Their metabolism slows down. They don't swim as much, and you know, they're like slow swimmers. They hang out more towards the bottom of the pond and stuff like that. So You know, so if you're in a zone where you're going to be going in the winter, and you know, don't feed your fish as much. I mean, you know, wait till it warms up during the day, go out and feed the fish a little bit, but don't overfeed them, because what happens is that, you know, a lot of the fish don't eat the food anyways, and it basically goes to the bottom of the pond and creates some more bad stuff, right? So that can get the fish sick and things like that. So you have your, you know, high nitrates and your different things like that, ammonias, things like that, which I talk about, which I don't test my water and I don't go into all that kind of stuff. But the thing about it is that, you know, you really want to pay attention to not overfeeding your fish during the winter time. It's super important, you know. I don't even overfeed my fish during the summertime. Like I said, I come out here every couple of days and give them a couple cups of food, and that lasts them for a few days, and they're happy. They seem to be very healthy fish right now. And so I do the same thing for my saltwater aquarium in the house. Is I don't overfeed. I had my aquarium guy come yesterday. He said the water clarity is perfect here. I mean, have you been adding some buffer and stuff like that? I'm like, no, I just don't overfeed the fish. Okay, so I think that's a big mistake that a lot of people do. When you start heading into the winter months, I like to switch my food over to, when it gets colder, I'll start switching my food over to a wheat germ or wheat-based food for the koi fish, because that helps with digestion. So that's another thing I do as well. And you know, so this video is basically to have a talk with you about water clarity and what you can do to make your fish healthy as well, okay? And so hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and hopefully it helped you, and I gave you some tips, some things that I do. There's a lot of different pond people out there, pond experts will tell you some different things maybe, but this is just, you know, something I've done to have some success with my pond personally, and some of the things that I've seen over all my years of dealing with ponds. And so when it comes to water clarity, you know, it's going to pop in and out throughout the spring and summer and winter months. During the winter, you get more clarity water. You could buy some clarifiers and put water clarifiers. You can get dosing systems and start dosing your water. That will help break down some of the sludge and all that kind of good stuff. I do have that as well. I have a, I don't use it as much because once again, I don't like to put a bunch of chemicals in the pond. If I notice that it's getting a little out of control, I'll treat it more. I might put a dosing system in for about a month or something like that, or until the bag's gone, and I'll pull it out and let it kind of do its thing, right? So that's what I do. You know, switch, you know, during the summer months, you know, switch your fish to spring and summer, go to a higher protein food. That's going to bulk them up, make the color come out in your koi fish a lot more. And then during the winter months, go to a wheat-based or wheat germ. And that'll actually help. Don't overfeed your fish. That's super important. Okay, keep them healthy. Okay, don't overfeed them, because these guys will eat and eat and eat, seems like all day long. So that's what I do. But as far as the water clarity goes, it's pretty natural, and you can, you know, natural process, right? That's what water does. It's a natural process. Let it do its thing. You can help it along by adding things, right? But right now we're getting in some really good clarity right now. So hopefully you guys enjoy your pond. And we're gonna look at the fish right now, and we're gonna see how clear the water is, okay? All right, guys, so you can see how clear the water is, and it's deep in this area. So I got some curious koi fish coming over right now. So let's check them out and see if we can get some good colors on them. There's a nice blue one right there. Here they come. And it looks like they're hungry again, like always. They see me sitting right here. Here he comes. You see pretty clear clear water, and the fish clarity is really good. And hopefully some of these tips, guys, you've enjoyed some of these tips. Hopefully it's helped you out with dealing with some of your water clarity and what I do to basically achieve that. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video about water clarity and what I do to basically achieve that. So having ponds for a long time is just something that I've done for years. And you know, if you just follow what I'm telling you, you're gonna have some great water clarity in the water. Remember, water clarity is seasonal, and you can treat it as you go, but it's just the natural process of the pond anyways. and that's just what it is. So, all right guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out videos, once every couple of weeks, and hopefully you enjoy it, and keep watching, and hopefully we can go on this journey together, and you can enjoy your pond and I can enjoy my pond. And if you have any ponds you want to post, please post them in the comments below. I'd love to see them. I'd like to see your ponds as well. And we'll see you on the next episode. And thanks again for watching.